No, that was as bad of a defeat as you could have, right? Credit to Coach Kelly, his staff, their players. They came out better prepared. They played faster right from the jump, and they dominated that football game. So I've done a very poor job in my evaluation of where we're at as a football team, and we have to decide how we want to respond to this, right? Because obviously you got two ways you respond to a defeat like this, and we're either going to do the hard things and the necessary things in order to get better, or we're not, and losing like this becomes commonplace. So we have decisions to make, right? As coaches, as players, everyone in our program, we got decisions to make how we're going to respond to this.
Obviously, a tough afternoon for Will Rogers. What do you think kind of went into some of the offensive struggles and some of the struggles he had in the passing attack?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know he missed some throws that he needs to be able to complete if they're there. Obviously, he was not getting a whole lot of help in protection, right? And so we did not hold up to their pass rush very well. I think early on, there's too many guys getting through. It's one thing if you win the one-on-one, obviously, on the backside of the protection, but you should not be giving up pressures into the slide or anything like that. And so we'll have to watch the tape and see exactly what those issues are, but it's not very fun playing quarterback when you got a pocket collapsing on you. And obviously, maybe that affected him a little bit from a mental standpoint, because then a few balls came out and he just missed them. And so when you got now throws that are there, you got to be able to make them. And obviously, when they play tight coverage and get a pass rush, you got to be able to hold up in the pass rush.
Zach, I didn't know if you had noticed some of the student section chanting "We want Mike" chants. I don't know if you said anything to Will regarding those and any kind of advice to him any longer if you did.
No, we're not spending our time paying attention to the chants coming out of the student section, right?
I know it takes a little time to take root with the new offensive system, but for much of the first half, you had single-digit yards. I mean, what do you kind of attribute that to?
Very poor execution by us and very good execution by them. All right. I think opening play of the game, right? We throw a little quick game. It goes for a first down, and then the next play we have a shot play dialed up with max protection, and you get a pass rush leak through there, which should never happen in that. All right. So now your quarterback's got a guy in his face and throwing it away. And now you're behind the chains. Simply put, right? I mean, if you look at the conversion downs, right? Third down and fourth down. Okay, they were 9 of 16 on third down and 2 of 2 on fourth, so they were 11 of 18. All right, obviously we're not doing enough to get off the field. We were 3 of 13 on third down and 2 of 3 on fourth down, so really 5 of 16. That ain't good enough. It ain't good enough, right? If you can't convert third downs and keep drives going, you're not going to gain many yards, and you're not going to score many points. And so we've got to be a lot better getting them off the field and creating some momentum for us and making plays to get off the field, and we've got to make plays to keep drives going. You're going to have to be able to convert third downs.
We saw Woody Marks not quite get as much carries as he's had the last couple of weeks. I think only 3 or 4 in that first half. Was that kind of a game plan thing, or was that just something, on the fly you had to adjust and start passing a little more?
I don't have the exact halftime stats on me right now. I mean, obviously I know it was incredibly lopsided, but do you know how many plays we ran in the first half? Do you have that number off the top of your head? I bet you we didn't run a whole bunch of plays, right? And so, and if you're in second and long and third and long, not a lot of teams are running the football in those situations. And so, if you can't be efficient in early downs on mixed downs and stay ahead of the chains, it's hard to rush the football a whole lot.
Coach, obviously LSU's got a lot of options in the receiving game. What was the plan coming in against Malik Neighbors, and where do you think things kind of went wrong in regards to that matchup?
Yeah, I know. He caught 2 balls versus man coverage. I think one was a first and 10 after a conversion inside fade down in the red zone, and then the other one was versus man coverage on 4th and 6, right, where we pressured, and I mean that's why when you recruit at a high level, it's a good matchup. We obviously had a poor plan, right? We obviously had a poor plan. So we'll have to go evaluate that and then reevaluate what we called and why we called it when. But complete dominant victory by them. Credit to them and their staff and their players.
Going off of that with the defensive stuff, you mentioned a lot coming into the week about how important getting pressure on Daniels was going to be. What did you just see from the defensive front, and maybe them not as often as you would have liked getting in the backfield and just creating havoc back there?
Yeah, again, obviously, you have to make decisions, right? How risky are you willing to be, knowing that if you don't get home, he can find a scramble lane and get out. It happened several times in the second half, right? And so then you rush a little safer, trying to collapse a pocket. Well, right, it's hard to – it's more difficult, right, to bull rush everybody and try to keep a guy in the pocket and get really good pass rush. And so, obviously, we had a very poor plan. You know, there's no way to put it. In this game, you evaluate the results. We did not get good results at all from the very jump. So, myself at the very top, we had a very poor plan.
You mentioned, there's one or two ways the team can respond to this. I guess just how confident are you in your bunch that you guys can bounce back in the right way going into first road game of the year?
Oh, we got a lot of good leaders on this team and veteran guys who have played a lot of football games. All right, the reality is as frustrating as this loss is and feels right now, it counts the same whether it was a 1-point game or, right? There's one loss on our record. Okay? Now, there's a lot of stuff on film, and that's what we talk about. There's a lot of stuff on film that every opponent from now on is looking at, studying, and looking to exploit. Right? It does not get easier from here. Right? Every week, you put more stuff on tape that your future opponents have to study and try to exploit. So, it ain't going to be an easy road, right? But our guys played a whole lot of football games, and they know that one game does not define a season. And so we're going to show back up to work, and we got a chance to go play in a heck of an environment next week versus a really good football team. And I expect to have a team who shows up, fired up, excited to play, and hopefully executes a lot better than we did today, because we got to give them a lot better plan to execute too.
Anything else?
You guys obviously lost Sean Preston to targeting there in that second half, and that likely means he's going to be suspended for the first half against South Carolina. What effect does that have, on your defense? And do you have any thoughts on just that, what the targeting rule is?
No, I have no thoughts on it. I know there's now an appeal process, right? So you can you resend in the clip and they relook at it, and I believe they determined if it looked like there was malicious intent. I think it's just the reality of the way the game is officiated now. I mean, it's happening in every game, and so we'll send the clip in. They'll determine whether Sean had malicious intent in it, and they'll determine his fate for the first half. But if he's out, when it's next man up. I mean, that's how it goes. So that got Isaac Smith in there, which should be good for his development, right? It gets a freshman in there exposed to a very talented football team, so he feels the speed of the game and what it's like to have to play in this conference. And so for Isaac, that should be good for Isaac's development. And obviously, if we get Sean back, that brings more veteran presence in the middle of our secondary. But I mean, we'll let the officials and the conference office handle all that stuff. I have no opinion on the targeting rule, to be honest with you, because it gets officiated the same against the other team as it does against us. So it seems to me like it's a level playing field.
You mentioned earlier about how LSU just executed better than you guys did today. Would you say the team kind of just came out flat today, or was it just like
No,
a matter of
no.
just a matter of execution? They just had better than you guys today.
No, plenty of people look for opportunities to make excuses about, we got 11 a.m. kick. We have to look at what we did pregame to get them ready and all that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying, all right, we took the ball to start the game. We get a first down on the first play, and then I believe we go 3 and out from there on the next set of downs. We kick it to them, all right, and we do get them in some third downs on that drive, but we're unable to get off the field. Okay, so we have to look at our third down plan. Did we not execute the plan, or did we not have a good enough plan that gave them a chance versus what they were doing? All right, you gotta look at both those things. Okay, there were some penalties on that, right, that gave them some additional yards. I think they called a face mask on one of our D linemen. There might have been a PI on that drive. I don't think so. I think the face mask was the big additional. But then they get down. We do stop a 3rd and short at the goal line. All right, so it's fourth and 1, and then they jump off sides. So they really stop themselves. They kick the field. It's 3-0. And then we come out. We might go 3 and out, and then they proceed to have another touchdown drive. And I think it happened again. All right, so all of a sudden it's 17-0. Okay, that's horrible by us. All right, horrible start by us coaches getting our team ready to play. All right, obviously not a good enough job of either executing what we have called, or we're not calling the right things that are giving them a fair chance. Okay? Yeah.
Last one, back.
What do you, as the head coach, what do you kind of say to Will kind of after a game like that to kind of help him get back on track? Or are you just like, confident that he can kind of, wash away today and attack the next one?
I tell Will the same thing I told everyone else. All right? We have a decision how we're going to respond to this. All right? And there's going to be plenty of outside noise. There's going to be plenty of outside noise, right? There's going to be plenty of critics. All right? We can either decide to listen to all that and let it be a distraction, and we're not going to get any better, okay? And we can be pretty simple to tell you what the results will be from that, choosing that course of action, or we can not listen to all that BS, and we can go to work, and we can study the film, and we can be critical of ourselves, a lot more critical of ourselves than any outside noise, and we can go back to work. And then we give ourselves a chance to get better and compete. So I hope we choose that course of action.
All right.
All right, thank you.